everybody. This is Ellen Weatherford. I'm here with Just the Zoo of Us. This is your favorite animal review podcast. I'm so excited because today I'm talking to our friend Alex Troutman. Say hi, Alex.
Hey, how are y'all?
I'm so excited to see you and talk to you. You have like the most contagious, like happy energy ever. So very happy to talk to you today. And so today we're going to talk about sea turtles. Before we talk about sea turtles, let's talk about you. Tell us a little bit about the kind of work that you do and how you got into it.
All right, yeah. So I'm a wildlife biologist, and I kind of got into it from an early age. I always loved nature, going fishing with my uncle and brothers and dad, and seeing like red-tailed hawks swimming around. That really kind of was like my spark into nature, was seeing that red-tail, like the sun highlighting it. That kind of like got me into it. And then from there, it was onward and upwards. I not pay attention during sports because I was looking for ants in the ground. Then I would get put in right field. I guess, yeah, that's right field. It was good for me because that's where all the ant hills were. So I would pay attention to the ant hills, and then the ball would come flying over, and I have to hurry up and look up and run and go get it.
You had your priorities in order.
Right. Yes. It was passion before baseball. But yeah, so I that's kind of where I got started with watching the red-tailed hawks fly over, and then from there it turned into a passion. Taking forever to like do chores like cutting the grass and raking leaves was because I was too busy looking for things that were in the grass or under the leaves as I was raking them. And then it transformed into now graduating college and to eventually working at the Zoo Atlanta and the Georgia Aquarium till now. I've been a wildlife biologist and having worked with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and on the National Park Service, where I actually got my first real experience with sea turtles. So I worked at Padre Island National Seashore in the Division of Sea Turtle Science and Recovery with mostly nesting Kemp's Ridley sea turtles, but we also worked with stranded or a turtle that's injured or sick that may have washed up on the beach.
So you said Kemp's Ridley sea turtles?
Yes, Kemp's Ridley sea turtles. So they're the smallest sea turtle, and then they're also one of the most endangered. They're critically endangered. And a cool fact about the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, they're one of the only ones that nest during the day, where all the other sea turtles nest at night, but these guys nest during the day.
They're little sea turtles?
They're little-ish. So They're still about 80 to 100 pounds. So they're a lot smaller than some of the bigger sea turtles that are over 400 pounds, or you have like the leatherback who's over 2,000 or so. Yeah.
Give me like a frame of reference for the size of this sea turtle, like bigger than a dinner plate, right? Like,
well, yeah, definitely bigger than a dinner plate. In fact, the juvenile green sea turtle juveniles are called dinner plate size because they are that size. So when we refer to the juvenile, it's usually a dinner plate size. But the Kemp's Ridley and other sea turtles a lot bigger, maybe like the size of a car tire, I guess.
Oh, okay. So that. It is a good bit of heft to them then.
Yeah. Yes. They're 80 pounds. They're like solid muscle almost. They're very thick. They're some thick girls and boys.
Big chunky turtles.
Yes.
So we haven't talked about sea turtles on the show before, which now I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, how have we not talked about sea turtles? But what sets a sea turtle apart from other turtles? Like what makes a sea turtle a sea turtle?
Well, they can go in the sea. So, yeah, they have flippers. So definitely flippers is one. They live at sea. Once they hatch, the males will never come back to the shore. After they go out to sea, they don't come back unless they're sick or injured. They go out and live the rest of their life there. The females will come back and lay her eggs on the beach, and then this process will start over. But definitely flippers, the ability to live in the ocean. They're more streamlined in some ways than other turtles and tortoises. So they are able to swim through the ocean.
I think they're really cute too. Like I think they have that little sort of almost like a beaked face.
Yes, they are very cute. Like, in my opinion, I mean, people probably say I'm biased because I worked with them. Like, in my opinion, Kemp's Ridleys are the cutest. I just like their like you said, that beak. And then also their color is like greenish yellow. So it's pretty cool. Like, so I would say as an adult, the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, in my opinion, is the cutest. But the younger ones, the younger sea turtle, like the hatchlings, maybe greens are a little bit cuter because the Kemp's Ridley, they're like a grayish charcoal black. But the greens are black with some white on them. So they're a little bit more colorful. They're cute. I mean, all hatchlings are cute regardless. So I wouldn't necessarily say I have to pick which one is cutest. I'll just say they're all cute. If you ever get a chance to see any hatchlings, I definitely will change your life. They're so cute and adorable.
Oh, they're so good. What type of work did you do with the sea turtles? Like, what did your work look like with them?
Yeah, so what I did was I pretty much drove on the beach. It's kind of weird situation down in Texas. So a lot of places don't really allow you to drive on the beach, but in Texas, the beach is actually in the Constitution. It's considered a roadway, so you can drive on the beach. So a lot of people drive on the beach. So one of our jobs was to actually go out and protect these turtles while they're nesting, make sure people aren't hitting them, trying to divert traffic. These turtles are critically endangered, so we're trying to make sure they have the best opportunity they have to survive and produce offspring for the next generation. So we're there to make sure that they are nesting safely without being harassed, without being ran over. We're there. So then we actually collect the egg clutches and move them to a safer environment, either in an incubation room where they can hatch, or move them, depending on how far down the beach we are, to a different incubation area. But this one is more natural because we actually dig different holes, or we make new nesting cavities for them. And we put a giant fence around it to prevent any predators from being able to get into the nest. So we kind of make sure that those also have the best situation possibility to survive. So yeah, so we're there. I drive up and down the beach for 10 or so hours a day, depending on if it's a nesting day, it could be more, a couple more hours. It just depends on the nesting and the weather. But yeah, my job is to drive them up and down the beach, look for sea turtles that are either coming out of the water to nest, or ones that are stranded and they're just laying in the sand. And sometimes even people call in and we would go to respond onto these sea turtles that are people have called in that they're injured. Or like one of the sea turtles, I actually helped rescue a male Kemp's Ridley sea turtle. So someone called in, a fisherman had called in, and it had probably like a 10-pound anchor around it, plus like 100 or so yards of like netting and wire and rope around its flipper. Fisherman called in and cut all that rope off. And I went out and helped rescue it and bring it back to the rehab center. So eventually, after it went to the rehab center, it was actually released, and it got a satellite tracker on it, because male sea turtles, they are not supposed to come back to land once they leave and go to the ocean. So we don't really know much about them. So we put a satellite tracker on there to be able to see, like, where do they go? Where do they forage? Where are they living at in these years that we don't know about? We know some stuff about the females, but we don't know anything about the males. So this was a good way to kind of get that data to see where it's going, where it's foraging when it's not on the beach, you know. So that's one thing to do. And then, like I said, we either looking for the sea turtle nest or we're looking for sea turtle tracks. And yes, sea turtles do make tracks. So when they crawl out the water, we see their flipper movements and watching how they're crawling to be able to tell, like, are they going to the nest? Like, did they actually make it to the nest, or did they get scared and spook and turn back around? But we look for these nests while we're driving on the beach and these tracks. And we find those tracks. We look for, see if we can see the turtle. If we don't see the turtle, we go and look for the nest. Usually there'll be inbound and outbound tracks. So inbound is when they're coming to drop their eggs, and then outbound is when they drop them, they're going back to the water. So if we find just inbound tracks, it's like, okay, so the turtle has to be somewhere. So we look for that turtle, and see where it's at. And hopefully we do find a turtle. And if we do find a turtle, that's when we get to play scientists and go up and measure the turtle. So we're taking like measurements of it using a soft, I guess, tape measure. And then also like using a metal caliper to get the measurements of the carapace shell of the turtle to see how big it is. And then we also look for any tags. So they'll have 2 to 3 tags. 2 metal tags are usually on the flippers. And those metal tags let us know what turtle is. Then they also have an internal tag that's a pit tag that's electronic that you can scan that has a long digit on there that lets us know also who the turtle is. And we record that so we know if the turtle has nested at that beach before, or if it's nested pretty much anywhere in Texas or anywhere that has the numbers, we can kind of tell where it's nested at. So we look for those tags just to get the information about how many times it's nested. If it doesn't have any tags, we put new tags on it so we can have a record of it. Then we take a biological sample of it, of one of the back flippers to get any genetic information we can. Maybe it was born, or maybe it's like a descendant of another turtle that we had on the island before. So there's a lot to go in it. It seems like we're just driving up and down the beach, but we're actually like driving for a purpose to find these turtles. And one of the most important things is the eggs. So we put like a rope in the nest. So after the sea turtle like drops the eggs and bury it, we can come back and find it and pick it up. And we're able to do that. So we have between 4 and 6 hours where the eggs are still like pliable and they're soft. So they're about the size of ping pong balls, but they're soft where the yolk or the embryo is not really attached to the wall yet. And they're still soft. And so you can move them, but once they start getting hard and foreign, they're more fragile and you can't move them in that sense. So we have between like 4 to 6 hours to get those eggs to the incubation chamber and move them. After that, you don't really want to move them because they're fragile and you don't want to mess up these turtles because they are critically endangered. But yeah, so finding the eggs is the most important part. So we it's called a stringer, but it's like a rope in the nest. So we were able to find those eggs. Watching the sea turtle like dance is when they pat down the nest. It's kind of like a dance with like moving in circles and patting it down.
That sounds really cute. Watching them like pip, 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 like pat down the sand. That sounds adorable.
Yeah, it is. It's an awesome thing.
Do you get to see the babies go back into the water when they hatch?
Yes, I do. Yes. So we release them. A lot of times we release them at night, but we also release them during the day. We have, pre-COVID, there was public releases where we would release the hatchlings to go into the ocean for the first time, so people could come down and see that. And that was beautiful too. You'll just see them like trying to go over the waves, and it's kind of like a mini like life lesson in perseverance, because some of them don't make it past the first wave, the first sign. So they'll get pushed back and then they come back and see the other flippers like going, and then finally they get over that wave, like, yeah, woo, go. So it's definitely like a life of like perseverance. Like the wave may knock you back, but like that's not in like keep going. Or Disney and Dory said, just keep swimming. But for the turtles, keep flapping, I guess.
There's so many life lessons you can get from baby sea turtles.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like they literally have to start at the bottom and crawl their way out of the ground. So yeah, there's so many lessons.
Well, since we kind of have a good idea of like how sea turtles begin their life, which honestly, like the cards are kind of stacked against them when they first start out, right? It sounds like they start off in a pretty rough spot. Let's review sea turtles a little bit. If this is your first time listening to this podcast, we rate animals out of 10. In the first category we rate them on is effectiveness, which is physical adaptations to their bodies that let them overcome barriers in their way, or let them survive, or let them eat their food, things like that. What would you give this sea turtle, the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, out of 10 for effectiveness?
Oh man, this I would probably say like a 7.
That's a passing score.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, they use their flippers well, but I would think like maybe I'll give them 8 because their shell too. Their shell is pretty strong, so they use their flippers pretty well to dig out of the sand, then get to the ocean. I don't know, but if they had hands, maybe they would be better. But no, I just played. Yeah, I definitely give them a 7.5 to 8 for being able to, like, they don't have hands, but they're still able to crawl out of the sand and then make it to the ocean and then get past the waves.
What do sea turtles eat?
It depends. Like, some of them eat jellyfish, some of them eat crustaceans and crabs and things like that, and others eat like grass. So it depends on what sea turtle species it is, but most of them eat any other type of marine organism. So like crabs, jellies, sponges, and coral. So sometimes that beak that they have comes in handy to like break up things and get it.
Oh yeah, because like coral is real hard. It's almost like a rock, right? So they'd have to kind of get some force behind it to chip that off.
Right. Yes, definitely.
And I'd imagine anything that like wanted to eat them would probably have a pretty tough time getting at them because of that shell, right? Like they kind of got like a tank built into them. It's like they're like swimming around with a bulletproof vest.
Yes. So they do have a shell. And the cool thing about that shell is their spines are actually fused to their shell. So it's not just like floating suspended. It's kind of like our shells is like in the middle of our body. Their spine is attached to their shell.
Yeah, it's not like in cartoons where like the turtle comes out of the shell. Like that's nothing.
Right. Yeah. The turtle does not come out of shell, or it doesn't like suck its body always inside. And actually, sea turtles, like they can't even suck their bodies in part ways inside. Like with the box turtle, like you see, they can suck at least their heads in, and they have like a little flap that like closes and protects. Like sea turtles don't have that. So they're just out there.
Exposed for the whole world to see.
Right, yes.
So when you think of them like on land and they're kind of flopping forward with their flippers, this is clearly not the environment they're like made for, right? So like when they're in the water, they're in their A game, they're in their element, like they're ready to go. Are they very like fast in the water?
They are somewhat fast, definitely not as fast as like fish, but they are pretty fast, like, especially the adults. When they're hatchlings, when they're first going to the water, I feel like maybe it's like they're kind of not really getting used to the flippers, but they're like just finding out about the water, so they're like flipping, and of course they're not as strong as the current. So when that makes them look kind of slow, like because the waves are just pushing them back. But I feel like if it was the perfect conditions, I would call them fast. But with the current and the waves just pushing them back, it takes a little effort for them to get over that hump.
Oh, did they look awkward when they're just like hitting the water for the first time? Does it look kind of like clumsy and like they got to get through the awkward phase?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's clumsy, but I would just say you can tell that the waves are kind of battering them down. Like, I don't know, they look better than me when I'm in the water. So yeah, like,
me too.
They at least have coordination when they're trying to get over. But me, I don't know, it's like I'm half dog, trying to dog pedal, then also trying to like swim like the frog and kick. Like I move, but I not very much.
Like it's like the bare minimum.
Right, yes. And then like let me try to do like a breaststroke or a backstroke like that. Like I'm going places, but it's definitely not the prettiest. Like watching like the Olympics and watching all these swimmers like zooming through the water, and then like they're swimming and there's barely like a splash. Like for me, I don't know, it's like water is going everywhere. But the sea turtles, they're not like that. They're going through, and then the waves just happen to be there at batters them back, but they keep going. They don't give up. I mean, they don't really have options of giving up, so they just keep going, keep trying. They're the poster animal child for perseverance.
I appreciate their dedication.
Right. Yes, that's what it is. Dedication.
So in line with their dedication, let's talk about their behavior a little bit. So for us, this category that we rate animals on is ingenuity. This is behavioral adaptations that animals have that let them stick with it, you know, like they're who is it that says stick to itiveness? I feel like this is a thing that I've heard in my life, stick to itiveness. I don't know. But like, you know, their dedication, but also maybe like ways that they protect themselves or hunt their prey or things like that, things that they're doing. What would you give the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle out of 10 for ingenuity?
Good question. Because from my perspective, like I know them mostly from the land.
Which is probably not honestly their like good side, right?
Right. Yeah, they're definitely, they're surprisingly though, they are somewhat fast on land, like sometimes. Like, I don't know, I feel like they give like bursts of energy to like get to their nest, then they like take a break, then they'll go. But they're somewhat fast. They're not like jackrabbit fast. But yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'll give them a 6. It's from my perspective. But then again, you know what, I'll give them an 8.5, because their colors, that green and yellowish, helps them to blend in some with the dunes of the beach. So I mean, many times you can miss the turtle if you're not paying attention, because they're blending in. And sometimes like it's funny, like you'll drive by and then you'll just see like sand spraying in the air. And like, what is that? And you look over and it's a turtle like digging its nest. So many times without that sand like spraying in the air, it's hard to see them. But actually, you know what? I'm gonna give them a 9, because a lot of times these turtles, they actually come out to beach or come out to nest on like windier days. So it makes it harder for us to find their tracks. So maybe there's something that's telling them that this is the best day. And since it's hard for us to find the tracks when it's windy, and then that they blend in with the yellowish sand, but also like the green foliage that's on the dune, that it's there. It's the perfect storm for them. So I'll give them a 9.
That is really clever of them. Like they're like using the weather to their advantage. That is really cool. I'd never heard of that before.
Yeah.
So this is an animal that's like super adapted for living totally in the sea.
Right.
Why is it that they come onto land to lay their eggs? Like, what is the purpose of that?
Well, they are reptiles, and they do have to breathe air, and they have lungs. So I guess that's the reason. They got to come back. I mean, you can't lay your eggs in the water and have them hatch there, because you need that air. So
I would imagine that like to lay eggs in water, if you need to breathe air, the only solution would be to like have your eggs float.
Right.
But then, then someone's going to eat them.
And then I guess with this, like with other animals that live in the water, they have paternal care. So sea turtles, like they don't have paternal care. Once they lay the eggs, the mom is gone. So the hatchlings have to make it to the water on their own. So I guess with the sea turtles, if they were to lay the eggs, they would have to have that paternal care to be able to help them get to the top of the water to breathe. Like with whales, like they'll help push the calf up to get that first breath. So with sea turtles, they would have to do all that. And think about, you're having 100 babies at a time. So are you going to be able to wrangle all of them up, push them up in the air, and keep doing that until they learn? So I mean, I guess with them being reptiles and having to lay the eggs on the ground for them to breathe, that's one of the reasons. And also, like the sea turtles and some other reptiles, they're temperature dependent. So how hot or cold the sand is, it will determine if it's the hatchling will be a male or a female. So I guess it can't really differentiate that in the ocean. So that's another advantage or reason for it to lay their eggs and hatch on the land.
But that makes sense. I like the idea that like when weighing the options between like having to push up every single little baby up to the air to breathe, it's like, no, we'll lay you on land and y'all figure it out. Like
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I can see that too. It's hard wrangling like little like 5 and 6 year olds. Like just 3 of them is hard work. like, no, you can't go here. Like, come on, Billy, like hold Sally's hand. And it's like, no, I don't want to. And you're like, come on. Or you're trying to wrangle them and tell them about the lions. And they're like, no, I want to go see the elephants. So yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah.
I'm already like trying to wrangle. I got a 6-year-old and a 4-month-old, and like I'm already at my limits here. So I totally understand the sea turtle's decision to just lay their eggs and be like, you know what, you guys have this right. Like y'all got this under control. I'm gonna go back to the ocean.
Right.
I like that for them though, that I do think that like that attitude of persistence of just being like, I'm going to get to the ocean. I'm going to get past these waves. Like how many of the baby sea turtles in your experience like make it to the ocean?
All the ones I see make it to the ocean, or at least all the ones that hatch, usually make it to the ocean. But either 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 do not actually make it to adulthood and reproductiveness. And that's due to a lot of factors, like just the normal things that's in the ocean that eats them. And then also human-caused problems like illegal fishing, the next there, boat strikes, people being mean in general, and even sometimes even harvesting of the eggs or anything like that. So it's a lot that goes into them making it to adulthood. And while like depending on the circumstances, like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 100 make it to adulthood. In normal areas like sea turtle hatchling eggs are really faced by like predators. Like at our beach that we are kind of like intervening, I guess, or protecting them from being predated by these predators. At least most of the nests that we find, we try to get them out. But other places they have predators like coyotes, raccoons that are coming to get the nest, and humans we try to put up like barricades to prevent these predators, but that's not always the case. So in other parts of the country and the world, like a lot of hatchlings don't actually make it. I'm not gonna say a lot, but hatchlings don't actually make it, even with the best human efforts, just because they're like a lot of them are not doing the same methods that we are to conserve or protect these species. So it really just depends on where you are, how many hatchlings or how many of the eggs actually make it to be able to hatch, and then those that make it to the ocean. Because even with us, like when we're releasing them, like we were releasing them at night, or we release them during at the day, we have giant nets and like predator flags, which are basically just flags over flags with eyes on it to mimic like a predator eye that try to keep the birds away. And many other places don't have that. So these sea turtles are hatching on their own, or facing the birds, or any raccoons or anything that are in the nest. So that's another good reason why it's like if you're on the beach, especially if your beach don't have like the protection program that Padre Island has. Good reason why you shouldn't feed the wildlife, feed the birds, because birds know that humans needs food. So if you're feeding the birds and then like just happens like, okay, you leave, but the birds are still around and the nests start to hatch. Oh, look, they're right there at the nesting site, the hatchling, so you can easily just pick them off. So just don't feed the wildlife, don't feed the birds, clean up after yourselves to not draw these birds or any other animals to the nest where they can easily find it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like I live in Florida where, you know, people like to come to the beach. And unfortunately, that means then the beaches often get totally trashed, which causes a whole host of wildlife issues. So just be kind to the beaches.
Right. Yes, definitely. Be kind to the beach. If you're kind to the beach, like being kind to the beach means being kind to like your neighbors and wildlife, like pick up after yourself, or like maybe sometimes it's not your trash bag. Go ahead and pick it up because like you don't want to see it, but also it could hinder wildlife or cause wildlife to come, especially if it's food related. So just go ahead and clean up. Like, I mean, you're going to leave anyway. So like you're probably most likely going to have trash with yourself. So go ahead and take the next person's trash if they left it and throw it away. I feel like in America we have like we have blind eye, or like it doesn't happen here because most of our beaches are clean. But people don't realize like the manpower that it takes to keep the beaches clean. Like it may not be like actual workers doing it. It might be like people volunteer, but that's still manpower that are cleaning the beach. Like when I was at Padre Island, there's a couple of individuals that every morning they would come and pretty much clean the beach. They would just walk for exercise, but they would still like clean the beach as I was going, picking up stuff. And many people don't realize that because they're not out there at 6 o'clock in the morning walking and picking up trash. And they just come at 8, 9 o'clock when it's already picked up and they can enjoy the beach. But that's one of the big things. Like you don't see a trash bar, even if it's like remotely. Like I think Padre Island is, I don't know, like I think 60 miles or so. Most people only go between like the first 5 to 10 miles because they don't have 4-wheel drive. So they don't see what's behind them, those markers. And so a lot of people don't get back there. So there's a lot of trash that is right there. And it's not necessarily from people who just leave dumping their trash, which sometimes that do happen, but other times it's from like storms, like Corpus Christi and Padre Island is like in the middle of, like you got the Mississippi that's coming out. Then you also have like the ocean. Then you have currents that like the Gulf of Mexico currents. And you have the currents that also come from Mexico and currents come from Florida. And then the Mississippi is farther down, but it still eventually comes and pushes everything towards Padre Island. So you got just trash from everywhere coming, especially after like hurricanes and storms. When the rivers inland flood, they push it out to the ocean. So you have all that trash piling up. And of course, like if people can't get back there to clean it up, it's just going to be back there. I always thought like American beaches was like clean until like I actually experienced that. Like this is America, but we have all this trash here, and this happens here too. And then even like if you in the sand, if you pick up some of the sand, you will see like small plastics and what they're called like nurdles or something. The little seeds that are in bean bags, or they melt them to make other plastic bottles. Like those container ships flipped over every now and then, and now you have like these plastic little beads that are in the sand. And you can find them. There's actually like studies going on about these nurdles that you can look up and see like where they came from originally, and they're everywhere. Like you might not see them in the sand, but pick up the sand, you might find some. So there's a lot going on that we don't really in America like think about, but it's happening right here at our back door. It's not. I just feel like America, we can no longer be blind to it's happening right here. And even if it wasn't happening right here, it would still be in our best interest to help those countries out because it could happen here eventually. I mean, like I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
It's like that out of sight, out of mind sort of thing, right?
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Well, hopefully, anybody who's listening would have maybe come into the conversation with an appreciation or an admiration for sea turtles. And then with sea turtles having that sort of like charismatic factor, right? Of like, oh, they're so cute. Look, aren't they precious? Don't you love them? And then, well, they're suffering because of all of the pollution on the beach. So, it's
exactly
kind of that like bringing people into like, this is why we need to care about the beach, because the things that you love rely on the cleanliness of the beach.
Yes, that's so true.
So since we are talking about how much we love sea turtles and they are quite cute and charismatic, what do you give sea turtles for aesthetics out of 10?
A 10. 10 out of 10.
Like no question.
Right. They're so cute. Like I was trying to like pick between the hatchlings which are the cutest, but all hatchlings are cutest. All sea turtles are cute, and some of them are cute in their own way. Like leatherbacks, they're still cute. They're a little different, but they're cute. But I like it. I like them. I like leatherbacks. They're leatherbacks for me. They're cute. Some people think they're I don't know, they're different because of the way they look, but I think they're cute because I feel like they have like a galaxy like kind of thing. Like they're black and then their backs are like, I don't know, they're so like mysterious. I don't know. There's so much about them that's just like extreme cuteness in like
looks alien almost.
A rustic way, kind of.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like rustically cute. I don't know. They look like they're black with the spots on them. It's like a galaxy kind of. It's like, so I don't know. I like leatherbacks. I haven't seen any in a while yet, but that's definitely my one of my goals. Is to see a leatherback. But I don't care. I give sea turtles 10 out of 10 for cuteness.
They're so good. And I feel like they have kind of like almost a calm and like a wise expression. You know what I mean? Like they look
Right,
like they're just like wise.
Yeah, like one of my favorite sea turtles is fake. Like it's on the Finding Nemo. I think his name is Crush or something. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's how they are. It's like chill, like go with the flow, like not to worry about a thing. That's kind of like I feel like how sea turtles are. Like what's meant to be will be. Like don't panic and don't get worried or anxious about it. Like just go with it and be chill. That's what I feel like sea turtles are.
Is that consistent with the personality that you feel like you got from like working with them?
I think so. Yeah. For me, I don't know. Like some were very chill, and others like some of them like are actually quite feisty. Some of the nesters like nesting, or even like some of the stranded ones that were like injured, like they're injured and they're not like really moving, and then you pick them up and they just get like another burst of energy, like chill, I'm trying to help you, and they're like flapping. Like flapping your wings and like hitting, not flapping their wings, flapping their flippers. Their flippers they're hurt too because like bone and stuff. It's like you get whelps and like it's like okay. So yeah. So most of them are definitely chill, but I feel like they're reserved. But when need to be, that they can switch it. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense because like you're a creature that is much, much bigger than them and they don't know your intentions, right? So they're like,
right.
I'm just going to try it. I'm going to go down swinging.
Yeah, right.
It's that perseverance shining through again.
Yeah, it's perseverance. That's all they're about. I don't know. I love them. They're awesome. Like there's so much we can learn about the sea turtles. Like I don't know. Like for me as an individual, like a Black individual, like sea turtles, like definitely like persevere, and like for me, I like kind of picture my life like they overcome struggles in the same way that I have to. Like they start at the bottom to work their way up. And even then, as an adult, like they're still not out of trouble. They still have predators and other things that can get to them. So they're still fighting, but they're still going through life, thriving, and persevering to continue going on. Then, eventually, they risk their life to go back. The females to go back to land and let that lay down the next generation. So yeah, I love everything about them. So they're definitely my I don't know, my poster animal. Yeah.
It's an animal that is full of admirable traits, right? Like you can just like if you can see a lot of yourself in that animal, I think that's a really good thing because there are so many things in the sea turtle to aspire to.
There is so much. There's so many qualities and characteristics of sea turtles that we as humans can learn from and appreciate. And the big one is definitely we keep saying it, perseverance. I feel like we need that a lot, especially in these tiring times, to persevere and keep on.
Oh, I love it. What an uplifting message for this episode. Before we get wrapped up, I wanted to give you a chance to let people know what kind of projects you're working on right now, where they can find you and keep tabs on what you're up to, all sorts of things like that, like things that you want people to know before we wrap up.
Yeah, so I guess my work now is I'm a graduate student at Georgia Southern, and my project will be assessing the diets of seaside sparrow nestlings in tidal marshes. So basically, I'll be looking at this bird that's endemic to the tidal marsh, or endemic means they don't move. They're in the area. You can't find them anywhere else. So they're endemic to the tidal marshes on the southeastern area of the United States. So I'll be looking to see what the parents are feeding the babies as we face these sea level rise. How will their insects and their diet be changed or influenced or affected by sea level rise, and maybe the population of the seaside sparrow. As the sea level rise, there could be a loss in the insect population diversity, which could in turn lead to the decrease in the seaside sparrow population. So that's that's my project. I'll be using a giant, not really a giant net, but a net to look for insects that are around their nest, and then also put video cameras at their nest to see what they're bringing back, and then compare what I caught in my net to what they're bringing back to kind of see how they're taking what's available. So that's my project. And then in the meantime, I'm also a Sylvania Center Fellows. So I will be engaging in community science in order to get individuals into the science field and show them what science and nature is about. So I'll be using my fellowship to do that. And you can find me on Instagram or Twitter at nature_al, and that's N, the number 8, TURE_AL. On Twitter and Instagram, I talk a lot about science and the animals, but also food. I'm a part of the Pineapple Belongs on Pizza group. So yeah.
I'm right there with you. I'm Kemp pro pineapple on pizza.
Yes. Yeah, it's the best. If you don't like it, you need to reconsider that thought.
You need to just let people enjoy things, and it's okay.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll say that. If you don't like it, don't knock it, but let us enjoy it. We won't knock you for not liking pineapple on pizza. So forgive me for saying you should join it, but you have your opinion, we have ours. So let us enjoy the goodness of pineapple on pizza.
We need a pizza community truce.
Yes.
And I will say that I've followed you on Twitter for some time now, and you have some of the most like wholesome, I don't know, the vibes are just so like happy and good all the time. So definitely a good follow on whatever social media platform you use.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Well, I think that's all we had for today. So I will let you run on along. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Have a great day. It was fun.
I had fun too. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.